What's going on, everybody? I hope you're having a great day. Today I wanted to talk about some films. My top 5 favorite dystopian films. Now, what's a dystopian film? Basically, it's a film that takes place in the current time or in the near future or even further than that, where the world has been completely changed. Maybe it's post-apocalyptic, but it doesn't look like the world that we live in now. Think Blade Runner, where the world looks completely different than the way it does now, even though it's not that far into the future. Okay, so I wanted to talk about 5 films that I really enjoy and some other films that maybe you should check out as well. Alright, so the first film I want to talk about is not exactly a deep dive. So forgive me. Some of these films you're going to be like, well, we've already seen these films. Why are you recommending them? Well, if you haven't seen them, you should. And also, it's a list. So be a little respectful. Alright? First film is Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange. Okay, so most of the world in this movie doesn't look that different from what it looked like 20, 30 years ago. But there are subtle differences. So it doesn't represent a world that we actually live in. It's a little over the top. It's a little exaggerated. There's a lot of things in the movie that wouldn't necessarily happen in normal society. I'm talking about just the day-to-day lives of everybody. Alex's world is a little bit off. Anyway, I wanted to add Clockwork Orange as a film that you should see if you haven't seen it. If you haven't seen it. Like, why haven't you seen it? Check it out. I don't know what year it came out. I didn't look it up. Alright, so the film I wanted to talk about next is from 1988. Clockwork Orange is from 1971, just so you know for the future. Anyway, this film is directed by John Carpenter, starring Rowdy Roddy Piper. The film I'm talking about is They Live. Absolutely incredible film. It's either David Keith or Keith David. I don't know. He's got 2 first names. Make up your mind. The guy was on Rick and Morty. You know who I'm talking about. One of the greatest fight scenes ever. It takes like 40 minutes of the film. Absolutely incredible. They Live is such an important film because it speaks volumes about current day society, and honestly, it does take place in a world that we live in, but it's a little bit more bleak. I don't want to spoil the movie, but if you haven't seen They Live, things happen in the movie. I guess the cover kind of gives it away. There's aliens in the movie. Roddy Roddy Piper. He's at WrestleMania 1. Roddy Roddy Piper. David Keith or Keith David. I won't look it up. They Live. John Carpenter. Check it out. Like, buy this movie immediately if you haven't seen it. Don't even watch it first. Just buy it first. Okay? Anyway. Check it out. Okay? Thanks. The next film I wanted to talk about is from 1985. I promise you, all the movies that I'm going to talk about are not only from the 80s, the 70s. Some of them might be even modern. Maybe made in the last 20 years. We'll see. But the film I'm talking about is Terry Gilliam's film, Brazil. As far as what's staked in reality or what exists in reality, other than there are human beings in the movie, there's nothing really that would draw you that any of this stuff actually exists. Could it exist in the future? Probably. But if you're familiar with the book by George Orwell or the film, this film definitely takes some things from 1984. This movie has Jonathan Pryce, I forgot his name. Also, my man Bobby D, Robert De Niro in a bit part. Also, Super Mario himself, Bob Hoskins. And then Bilbo Baggins, Ian Holm. I mean, I'm just naming characters. That's not their official names. Anyway, Terry Gilliam's Brazil also has Michael Palin from Monty Python. I don't know if you're familiar with Monty Python. Terry Gilliam had something to do with that. He made all the cartoon bits. Anyway, check out the Brazil Criterion Collection edition because it's stacked. It's stacked. Like, if I were to stack this on top of each other, this would make 5 stacks. Anyway, Brazil, Terry Gilliam, 1985. Check it out. The film I want to talk about next is from the year 2000. That's current. You might actually remember that. Anyway, the film from the year 2000 Kinji Fukasaku's Battle Royale. Have you seen this movie? I mean, seriously, you need to see this movie. It was nominated for 10 Japanese Academy Awards. I'm just reading the back here. Anyway, Battle Royale. What is this movie about? I'm not going to give it away. But basically, they're all Japanese high school students, and they're brought into a remote area or an island, and the only way they can escape is if they kill each other, and only one child can be the winner. Now, you're like, oh man, that sounds familiar. If you're not familiar with it, it sounds like Hunger Games. I bet it does. This is before Hunger Games. Jennifer Lawrence is not in this film. It's a Japanese film from 2000. You should check it out. It also has a sequel, Battle Royale 2. You can skip that one. But this movie is crazy violent, crazy entertaining. If you're into like over-the-top violence and really, really wrong premises for films, like extremely wrong, high school students, they're going to kill each other. They're all murderers involving teens. You should check out Battle Royale from 2000 because this is a pretty fun movie if you haven't seen it. Kids killing each other. Not good. In film, that's better. That's better. All right. So the last film that I want to talk about in my top 5, this is the 5th film. It's in no order, so you can watch them whenever you'd like. But top 5 usually has 5 things. So I'll mention them, and then I have some other films I want to talk about as well. But the last film I want to talk about is from 1991 and 1992. I didn't really look that well. Anyway, the film I'm talking about is directed by Jean-Pierre Jeunet and Marc Caro. It's Delicatessen. Now, the film, Jeunet is known for the film Amelie. And then they did another movie called Micmacs, which I've yet to see. It's over here. I have to see it because that's my life. I buy things and I forget I have it. I just remembered now that I have it and I haven't seen it. From 1991. It's a French film. It takes place in a post-apocalyptic world where an apartment building it's dilapidated and there is a food scarcity, and there is a butcher who's getting a little overzealous for himself and he finds his meat in very Sweeney Todd ways. Is that giving it away? I don't know. This film is great. The first time I saw it on IFC really early in the morning, and I was like, I need to see this movie again. The release is from Studio Canal, but it is absolutely incredible, the world that they create in this film. It's bleak, it's depressing, but it's absolutely beautiful. It's a love story involving a clown. I hate clowns, but he's like a French clown, so he's almost a mime. That's almost better, but I hate clowns. Delicatessen, buy it, see it, because it's very enjoyable, regardless of how many clowns. I believe it's just one clown. So, see Delicatessen. And see all the movies I suggested. Let's start over. Delicatessen, Battle Royale, Brazil, Clockwork Orange, that's upside down, and John Carpenter's They Live. Okay, so another film that I want to talk about, it's an honorable mention. I mentioned this before in another video. It is Mike Judge's Idiocracy. You need to see this movie. It's very, very, very good. It's a very funny movie. Also see Soylent Green. It's people. So comment below if you guys want to talk about movies, talk about dystopian movies, talk about the second Smurfs movie, anything. Discuss it let me know what your favorite dystopian films are. Even if these aren't dystopian films, you could rag on me about how that's not true. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like this video if you like it. Please share it, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next time. Brazil from 1985, starring... Who's in this movie?